Is there a red line for you in Disney when it comes to Black Panther? Is there an action that they could take in this movie that's above and beyond anything that you could morally support?
The red line that you talked about, I think and I've always called it the unsettling compromise, which is Marvel might give us a variant. They might, eventually recast. Maybe they do time travel like they did with Loki. They might do whatever they want because it's fiction.
Mm-hmm.
But the uncomfortable compromise is killing T'Challa off. And killing T'Challa off, I think, is problematic. But I think the red line will be the promotion of killing him off. So if Marvel goes out of their way in their trailer, this is why I said the trailer is going to matter. If they go out of their way in their trailer and promote, the king is dead. T'Challa died. Now you have a problem on your hands because now you're actively promoting and marketing the death of a black man that you're putting as a plot device into your movie to sell tickets.
For the longest time with the whole recast T'Challa movement, the biggest thing we've been kind of waiting on is the trailer. E-Man has done a good job at, making sure that, not only are we prepared, but that's the thing. That's the thing we're waiting on, is to see how it is that they market the movie. At San Diego Comic-Con, Marvel has finally released a trailer for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Thoughts?
Let's start out with the positives. There's going to be plenty of negative to go around, but the things that were obviously good, and then things that we expected to be good, right? Like the cinematography looks great.
Yes.
Surprise, surprise. Star-studded cast. We knew exactly who was going to be in this movie all this time. We saw Namor. We saw the Dora Milaje fighting the Atlanteans. Riri Williams we got a brief pic of her. She is somehow even shorter than Letitia Wright, which is freaky.
Yeah.
That is fucking scary. I will be completely fair, and I will tell everyone that I've rewatched that trailer several times. There was one part that stuck out to me that kept ringing off in my head like over and over and over and over again. I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I think it's safe to assume that Ramunda, post T'Challa's death, surprise, surprise, that's going to happen too. She says, I am the queen of the most powerful nation on earth, and my entire family is dead. And I can't get it out of my head because I'm having trouble explaining it. Because her entire family being dead would mean King T'Chaka, former prince and now King T'Challa, and then also Princess Shuri. So that creates a monicum of doubt on the situation, just because I can't explain it any other way unless it's just literally a slip up and y'all's boy literally just wrote that into the script, not thinking about the fact that Shuri is still alive.
For that to be such
I don't think
prominent
that's the case.
Sentence in the trailer.
I don't think that's the case, though. So, I don't know. What that says to me is that there is a possibility of it happening during the blip. And going even further with that, if that's what ended up coming of this, I don't know. But that's the positive, at least.
If I'm not mistaken, Shuri, when the blip happened, we didn't know what exactly happened.
I don't think we saw her get. I thought I did, but maybe not. So they listed her as missing, and Marvel had came out at a point in time and confirmed that she was dusted. Now, we know retcons happen. We know that they change shit all the time, and obviously they made that proclamation pre-Chadwick Boseman's passing. So none of this was even a factor at that moment when they were proclaiming that she had got dusted. They probably just had no other reason to say that anything else was happening narratively.
Yeah.
So that it's an out that we shouldn't even have to take because we shouldn't be here. But it is an out. And it just makes me wonder if the recent swing we've seen towards our favor maybe, just maybe, got home. And so at that point, I wouldn't expect them to totally scrap the entire movie because it's shot. It's shot. $250 million budget and all. It's there. But being a filmmaker, there are subtle changes that you can make here and there that can completely change the entire narrative of the movie. If this movie is happening in the blip and they chose to have their funeral scene, which is still so problematic.
Yes.
But if they chose to have that within that 5-year gap, and now that was Queen Ramunda's time to rule Wakanda, I can't say we won, but I got what I wanted.
A possibility of T'Challa returning.
Yeah, not a legitimate T'Challa retirement.
Yeah.
Not a mutation of what Wakandan and Black Panther lore is. A complete disrespect to Black Panther canon, because what the alternative is something that is completely antithetical to what Black Panther was created to do.
Mm-hmm.
The alternative is something that is so riddled with trauma and black tropes that it might as well be an MCU Tyler Perry film. And then on top of all of that, Marvel has completely, for better or worse, pretty much told you that they own Chadwick Boseman's legacy. It's theirs to arbitrate. His legacy is theirs to control and to structure and to shape and mold.
And
it belongs to them. All the while that we're sitting up here talking about grief and understanding and patience and all this other stuff in regards for the cast and crew and everybody involved with Disney and Marvel, and they put a mural of Chadwick Boseman's face in the trailer of this movie. Quite literally, and I cannot drive this point home any further. Quite literally, there is no mincing of words. There's no nuance here at all. They have literally marketed this man's death in a Marvel movie. Literally. Now, again, I'm not rehashing what I said. If it happens in the blip, it's the long-term implications of this movie are nerfed. Because as problematic as reproducing this man's sickness in a fucking movie would be, it would be that much worse for them to do that, but then also permanently remove him from Marvel canon. Well, not Marvel canon, because he's still in the comic books, but MCU canon.
Here's my question. So the leaks obviously mentioned a couple things that I think may be refuted here, but if it is during the blip, then he would have died from the blip, not a sickness, correct?
That's assuming that all of it is correct. I don't know if that's going to be a cookie cutter synopsis of the film, especially now that it's leaked and millions of people have already seen it. This isn't the first or second time that this has happened to Marvel and they've had to change course. Now, it also wouldn't be the first or second time that they chose not to do something for their black IP that they've done for their white ones. Mm-hmm. So I'm at a loss. I can't tell you definitively which way they're going to go. I can only tell you that watching them and how they've acted in similar instances where plots and synopses of films were leaked, they adjusted and went the other way. Sometimes they adjust and go the other way without it having to be leaked at all. Completely changed the understanding of WandaVision leading into Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness by cutting one scene. One character from the show. Completely changed the entire narrative around it. Went from being this thing that's supposed to be having you hanging on the edge of your seat until Doctor Strange comes out, to being an isolated Wanda story where she ends up being the hero at the end of that series and somehow the villain in the beginning of Multiverse of Madness. It feels disjointed. But they did that of their own volition, and they did it fairly late in the process. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I don't have any more bail to give them. You know, they just kind of have to prove it. They kind of have to prove it. And I swear to you, there's no other reasoning or even want to give them the benefit of the doubt other than the fact that that line doesn't make sense if Shuri's still alive.
Yeah.
Like, very obviously and plainly doesn't make sense unless Shuri is dead or missing and believed to be dead.
Say that they do set it during the blip. Is it still boycott?
No, yeah. So let's talk about it. If they avoid killing him altogether, we still have to sit through a funeral scene, right? Mm-hmm. For a character, because see, the blip only masks the idea that they are dedicated towards killing T'Challa. Mm-hmm. They're dedicated to killing that character, which guys, I don't know how many times I have to say it. This would not, and what's so funny, the reason why I continue to say it is because every time I say it, no one has a rebuttal for it. No one has a no, you're wrong. None of you, no one arguing about this issue will ever address it because it's the truth. The truth of the matter is that if after Iron Man 1, Robert Downey Jr., God bless his soul, met an untimely demise, there's no way on hell they scrap the idea of Tony Stark being Iron Man in the MCU. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
There's no set of circumstances that would ever make that happen. And furthermore, there would not be this charade. There would not be this fiction around the idea that the decision was made solely between the executive producer and the director. That they have so much autonomy over that IP that they're able to make that decision for the entire corporation. That is a fiction. It's a fucking joke. And I understand why they told the story that way, is to convey the emotions that were in the room about Chadwick passing. I understand that. I'm a human being. I get that. For God's sakes, use your brain. Some of y'all work for Fortune 500 companies and you have managers. Would those Fortune 500 companies ever let your manager make a decision between you and him that would adversely affect the entire company? Ever. Stop it. Stop. Get off of that. Because it makes you too connected to the idea that this is overly emotional for all of them, and so that they can't be held responsible for any of the fallout. Stop with that. You if you want me to actually believe that, I'd have to turn my brain off. And even if I did, let's say I did believe that no one else was involved in this decision to permanently put this character on the shelf. It took you 5 minutes to decide that? So not only did Bob Chapek or none of the shareholder, or not the shareholder, excuse me, the board members, anybody who would have a vested interest in the only film in their entire franchise to be nominated, the only solo film in their entire franchise to be nominated for an Academy Award is now going to be without its title character forever. Not only did the CEO not know about that, not only did your director of your executive producer of all of Marvel, your creative director and Kevin Feige not have any say so in the matter, right? He didn't have no say so in the matter whatsoever. None. Right? Okay. Not only that, but it only took you 5 fucking minutes to decide for everybody who's been waiting for 50 plus years to get this character into live action that it was more important that you write a fictional character's death to match your quote unquote friend's actual fucking death. That sounds like a goddamn plan and only took you 5 fucking minutes. They have been trying to rattle our emotions about this thing from the fucking start. Everything has been an appeal to emotion from the fucking start. All of it. None of you, not a single one of you has ever killed something to honor a dead friend or family member. Nothing. None of you. And if you have, you are a psychopath. Death does not honor death. Wasn't that the point of T'Challa's arc in Civil War? Wasn't that the point? Isn't that why he let fucking Zemo go in the first place? Because death only begets more death and begets more death. And that has been the entirety of T'Challa's legacy in the MCU so far. Is death. That's it. Death and trauma. Uncle killed by his father. Father murdered by Zemo. Him killed by Killmonger, or seemingly killed by Killmonger. Then killed again by the Snap, and then killed again by cancer.
And he kills Killmonger.
And he kills Killmonger. I'm not cool with it, even if it's still set in the blip, because he's solidifying this character's legacy in trash. He being Ryan Coogler. In trash and in tropes. What we had to suffer through in the first movie was enough. And this shit makes you feel unwanted, yo. This shit makes you feel undesired. It makes you feel as if they don't give a fuck about you. Because I have to sit up here and I have to listen to them bend over backwards apologizing for fucking Mark Spector not wearing the yarmulke in a scene during tester footage in a goddamn for fucking Moon Knight. I have to hear Kevin Feige get out there and apologize for putting a white woman in a role, the ancient one, where a person of Asian descent should have been. But damn, if it ain't been 2 years and we ain't been saying the same shit over and over and over and over and over and have never gotten as much as a tweet. As if our voices don't matter. Also, that they can kill off a character. Y'all believe Ryan Coogler is grief-stricken over Chadwick? Cool. Then they're using his grief to push their agenda. Doesn't make sense aesthetically. It doesn't make sense fiscally. If you have a product and a formula to produce that product, most producers would repeat the process. Rinse, wash, and repeat. That's why so many trends end up doubling back on themselves, because companies use the same formulas to sell products over and over and over again. So call it conspiratorial, call it whatever the fuck it is, but I see an outlier and I only see one deviation in that outlier. I see major story arc after major story arc after major story arc. I see Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. Hell, even Loki is working his way into being a mainstay character. The only black character that y'all promote and produce behind is the black character that you chose for us. It's your character. T'Challa was created for us. Sam Wilson's Captain America was you. That was for you. No one ever asked you to do that. In MCU or comic books. And people are more fond of the comic book version of Sam Wilson's Captain America than they are the MCU version. But even in there, that is a creation that is born out of your virtue signal. No one asked you for that. The one character that was given to us, that people sat around and maintained their fandom, although even through no animated series, no sitcoms, straight to TV films, no video games, nothing. And the minute they make a major motion picture for it, it does $1.3 billion and gets nominated for an Academy Award. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. And now we're telling that very same fan base who have been waiting to get T'Challa on screen for all these years, finally get it, and now you're done. You're through. Here's something else. Here's what you get. Here's yours. Yeah, I know yours looks different than everybody else's, but to hell with that. Enjoy. Anybody signing up to go see a movie about the Asgardians with no Thor? Anybody signing up to go see a movie about Stark Tech without Tony Stark being there? There's what Thor gets. There's what Superman gets. There's what Batman gets. Marvel could have done the easy thing, which is solidify that T'Challa is of that same ilk. He's of that same cloth. He is a cornerstone character that will be reproduced for years. That is what they had a chance to do. They had a chance to propagate a black king while also introducing a new black queen. They could have done both at the same time. And it's either because Ryan Coogler is too unimaginative to write that into a script post Chadwick Boseman's death, or I don't know, man. I don't know. It's very clear to me, right? Because I'm personally big into politics. So I see the way that people buck trends and the way that people in this country have sometimes even violently rejected the leadership of a black man in this country. So if we can just take a microcosm of that and apply it to what the imagery of a black king must have done to those same people, those same folks that we're talking about. You don't change into a different person just because you walk into a movie theater and start watching a Marvel movie. You're the same person who's generally unsettled by being led by a black man. You're just watching a comic book film now. And so now if you're Marvel, you have to feed those people. You have to serve those people. You have to give them the content that they are going to watch and like. So let's liken our films back to what's going on in real life. Does it feel very pro-black in America today? Usually your media reflects the reality. Usually your art reflects the history or the current events that you're going through. So it's no surprise that the MCU, even though we are 20 years in, it's no surprise that it's still overwhelmingly white. And that the one black franchise that we have to lean on is so riddled with all this controversy, and the story has been hampered by anti-blackness. It's been hampered by the fact that they've created this echo chamber where they've hid themselves from any criticism. Because even as I stand here talking about Black Panther, I can tell you why Marvel is currently anti-black without even mentioning Black Panther. See the video we posted last week about all the dead characters in phase 4 alone. I didn't even have to move out of this phase to get to 10 dead black characters. Don't tell me I'm being conspiratorial. Look at the facts. Prove me wrong. Tell me a vast majority of the characters in phase 4 that were introduced that were black aren't already dead. Tell me I'm lying. Please. Tell me. Tell me I'm blowing smoke and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, because I would much rather enjoy your reality than mine. I don't understand why we are so comfortable with letting them assume his legacy. I don't understand why we're so comfortable with the idea. And you know what? I'll say this. I haven't seen much positivity towards the idea of him dying from an illness. I have not. I have not seen much positive reinforcement from that part of the leaks. If anything, the most positivity has been coming from the Doom stuff and, the T'Challa's son stuff. And, if there is positivity around the leaks, that's the kind of stuff that's drawing it. It's not the illness thing. But even to think to do that as a writer, if honoring Chadwick and being respectful is the number one thing at the top of your mind, how is it even remotely respectful to give the character the same death that your friend had? Now, we're not talking about whether it's right not to kill him or not. It's wrong. But then to kill him in the same way, not saving Wakanda, not fighting in battle, all right? Not defeating Namor or Doom or any of the, the Rose Gallery of T'Challa. No, sick in bed like a normal person when T'Challa was meant to be anything but normal. When Chadwick Boseman was anything but normal, even through his fight. Like, that's honorable death for your friend. What is honorable about that, y'all? What is honorable about that? What's not exploitive about having a Chadwick Boseman mural? What are murals with people's faces on them mainly? What are they most synonymous with? You're paying homage. This is a person who's passed, right? Most of the time you see murals is of people who have passed in that area. Nipsey, Kobe, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Harriet Tubman. I was just in Brazil last month. All the murals I seen were of dead people. They're actively selling his death, y'all. This shit is not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. This is like selling a posthumous album from a slain rapper times 1,000. They're going to slap his face all over it. And then if you gleefully go out there and pay for it, which I will officially tell people now, boycott this fucking film. Boycott this film. I can't tell you what to do, and if you go watch it, I'm not going to judge you. But if you feel a way about this, do not go pay for that film. Find any way to watch this movie that is not going to pay for it at the box office. I'm serious. It is not enough to bitch and moan about it. It's not enough to even for us to make videos about it. It's not enough for us to stake our platforms on it. Don't buy it. Send a message to them loud and clear that you are no longer going to entice us with our demise. You're no longer going to put up visuals of our death and sell it to us. Tell them that. Tell them that. Because, guys, they're not doing it for any other class. People are going to try to tell you that this isn't a racial thing. It's emotional. You know, the cast and crew, blah, 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 blah. Right? All of that. They're going to throw it up so that they don't have to have the real conversation about what's going on in this film. The only thing that you have to do to bring yourself back to center and understand what's at stake here is that this has not been replicated on any other Marvel IP. Not a single one. Not a single other demographic has been made into cannon fodder the way that black men have in the MCU. Period. I will lay that statement down and I will invite all challengers to prove me different. Any. Prove me wrong. But no other demographic has been treated like fodder the way that black men have been in the MCU. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to take it. You for damn sure don't have to buy it. To hell with them. You shouldn't have to accept different to be part of the group. You shouldn't have to accept lesser to be part of the whole. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of this shit. I can't fucking watch NFL because, blackball the black guy, and now we get all this performative shit about them and Jay-Z and all this other shit, sending money to random social services 1 or 2 times to placate the black people. Okay, we back to no black head coaches, GMs, or owners. Okay, we back to cutting all the players, no guarantee contracts. We right back to it. And I can't unsee it. I can't turn my brain off and hop right back into the mass hysteria with y'all because I see it now. Because I see it. And I need y'all to see it too, because if not, this is all we'll ever be. This is all we will ever be. We will only ever be sidekicks and fucking afterthoughts in their stories. thirsty for the crumbs that they give us. It's not right that Marvel is attempting to sell this movie on the back of Chadwick Boseman's death. It's disgusting. I am not a fan of anybody involved, and anyone who goes on to help promote this movie is getting a side eye from me. So, with that being said, as far as, Mr. Coogler and Nate Moore goes, I was never really feeling an affinity to Nate Moore, because I feel like if there is an agenda at Disney, then Nate Moore is the vehicle by which that gets done. It gets done safely behind a black face that they'll never have to answer for if shit ever hits the fans. But with Coogler, and this isn't necessarily even just solely centered around him, I have to challenge y'all to do more. I hear a lot of people calling Ryan Coogler a genius. I'm sorry, y'all, but there's nothing in that man's filmography that makes him a genius. You want to say he's a good director? That's fine. You want to say he's creative? You want to say that he does, he's very good as far as visuals and things okay. Come off the Ryan Coogler train just a little bit. Slow down, because he has a way to go. This man is only proven to be able to write one single thing in every one of his projects. And unfortunately, that's death. Usually by a male protagonist. It's just usually how it goes. Or a male driving force to the narrative. Again, I'm a hater. I'm going overboard. I'm just mad because they're not recasting T'Challa. Okay, fine. Tell me I'm wrong, though. Tell me that in every movie that you've seen Ryan Coogler direct from a major studio doesn't have a black dead father in it. Tell me that. Say it. Say the word. Say every film that Ryan Coogler has directed from a major studio does not have a dead black father. It is like the Phillips screwdriver of his writing toolbox. Fruitvale, Creed, Black Panther. He's not doing Creed 3. Creed 2 was basically the same synopsis of Creed 1. Adonis Creed, fatherless son. Effectively adopted by Rocky. He's his new daddy. Right? Like, that's what it is. Single mothers, absent fathers, most of the time dead. And then now, in his second sequel, we see him ramp the tropes up even further. Single mother with dead father. Put them together. Boom. Huh. That's that heat. That's that Ryan Coogler heat right there. Got that motherfucking black trauma up to 1,000, dog. Shit, fire. I love it when the movies I watch with my people in it make me cry. That's what I love. Because no, in all honesty, watch Queen Slim. Cried fucking tears. Cried fucking tears. Watched Fruitvale Station. Cried fucking tears. Set It Off. Cried tears. Boys in the Hood. Cried tears.
Menace to Society.
Cried tears. Juice. Ain't nobody ever noticed that we always crying when it's our movies? Don't nobody notice that? There's always some like heart-wrenching, super sad shit going on. You're not tired of that? Just don't feel like I'm allowed to exist here, man. Maybe that's the point. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Give us your thoughts on the trailer in the comments below. And also come back for more content.
And make sure you check out our playlist for Recast T'Challa. Explains why we feel the way that we do. And make sure you subscribe for more.